Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara, and today we're going to be looking at the zodiac signs and the chakras. So super excited to be getting into this topic. It's all to do with what zodiac sign is working on which particular chakra in this particular lifetime. Now, you might be wondering, where do I get my information from? Well, a lot of my information is channeled. I am a psychic medium, so I love learning about anything to do with energy work, energy healing, anything to do with mysticism, esoterica, theology, all these sorts of things. So I love learning about it. So when I do have a lot of information and I think about it and I dwell on it, that's how the dots start to connect for me. So it is channeled information. That being said, it doesn't mean that this is the only way. It doesn't mean that, when we talk about a particular chakra, that's the only chakra that sign is working on. Okay, so you guys can take what resonates and leave behind what does not. So let's jump into it and let's look at the chakras. So I love the chakras. I love talking about the chakras because, it's a good reference point. A lot of the time I even find myself coming back to it. Okay, it's a good way to hone in the energy and see what chakra am I working on today, or what is this situation showing me about which particular chakra. So it's a good center. Okay, it's a good way to, again, bring the information through and to, center it in a way so it has a focus. Okay, so you know what you're working on. So there are 7 chakras in the body. Okay, some say we have more, some say we have up to thousands, okay? But for this video and for beginners, we're going to look at the 7 main chakras in the body, okay? So the first chakra that we have is the root chakra. So the root chakra is all to do with your sense of security and your sense of stability and your sense of safety in this particular lifetime. It's depicted by the color red. And, again, in this lifetime, this could come through as money, it could come through as family, it could come through as, again, finances or home or stability, all these sorts of things. Anything in the material plane is going to be dealing with the root chakra. The root chakra also has to do with the subconscious, okay? It has to do with the subconscious. It has to do with fears. It has to do with those primal instincts, okay? This is really what the root chakra is all about. Those things that have been passed through generations and generations. Generational trauma or generational healing is going to be located in the root chakra. Then we have the sacral. The sacral chakra is all about your sensuality, your sexuality, your creativity. It's a manifestor's energy, okay? I have seen psychically that this is the divine feminine energy center. Even though every chakra does have a divine masculine and divine feminine aspect to it, psychically, this is the way that it's come through for me. It makes sense because the feminine energy, we all have this energy within us, masculine, feminine, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you were born into, but the divine feminine energy is basically what brings things through, okay? This is how you have an idea and you manifest it, but you actually have to have both energies working together, okay? So to bring things through and bring ideas through makes sense also because this is literally how we bring life through, okay? So it is the full-blown creative force, okay? So the creative force is located in the sacral chakra, depicted by the color orange. Next, we have the solar plexus. Solar plexus is located in the belly. It's depicted by the color yellow. It has all to do with your confidence, your prana, your life force energy is going to be in here. Your ego, your identity is all in the solar plexus chakra. Each chakra has a light side and a dark side. We're going to get more into that when we look at the particular signs, but this is really what that is, okay? So it's all to do with who you are as a person. Having a strong solar plexus, you're going to be able to stand in your truth, stand in your power, okay? So this is the solar plexus chakra. Next, we have the heart chakra, located in the heart space, depicted by the color green. All to do with unconditional love, giving and receiving love openly and freely. How are you able to receive love from other people? What are you expecting in relationships? All these sorts of things. It also has to do with the divine mother archetype. The root chakra is the divine father. The heart chakra is going to be the divine mother in the heart space. It's also to do with compassion, okay? It's all to do with empathy for other people, okay? So this is the heart chakra located in the heart space. Next, we have the throat chakra. Throat chakra is in the throat space. It's depicted by the color blue. It's also to do with speaking. So today I'm using the throat chakra. I'm talking, I'm speaking, I'm teaching, I'm educating. You're speaking your truth, okay? So when you speak your truth, it's a throat chakra. Everyone has a story. Everyone has something to say. Everyone has experienced something. So that's going to be the throat chakra. You're going to use that when you speak, okay? Singing, that's also the throat chakra. So this is really the throat chakra. It's interesting because sometimes even creativity is also depicted by the throat chakra. So I guess it depends what way you are using your creative life force, but it does come out of the sacral and it does come through the solar plexus, it does come through the solar plexus because you have to have that confidence and then you speak it, okay, into existence. It's expression. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just speaking. It could even be the way you dress, okay? So this is really throat chakra energy. Again, we're going to be looking at each sign and, there's going to be some signs that use more than one chakra, and a balanced person actually is able to use all of their chakras at the same time, okay? And then we have the third eye. So the third eye is located between the brows, okay? It's all to do with your intuition, okay? It's all to do with dreams. It's all to do with visions. It's all to do with psychic gifts and abilities. I talk a lot about this in my course, okay? So I do have a chakra course called Open Your Chakras. So if any of you are interested, it's going to be in the description box below, where I go way more in depth about what each chakra means and how to heal it and all these sorts of things and how to come into alignment, because you do have to be in a certain alignment to basically use this energy in a way of channeling, okay, in a way of getting information through your crown. So the crown chakra is all to do with the information that comes through, okay? It's all to do with channeled information, psychic information. It's all to do with your connection with the divine, with other beings, with other people, with nature, okay? So it's all about feeling connected. So every chakra has a shadow aspect. So if you do feel disconnected, it's because the crown chakra, you know, there's an imbalance there. Let's say you're an overthinker, you're maybe thinking too much. That's going to be an overactive crown. So a lot of the time, you know, there is no blockages. You know, in energy work, we don't talk about, you know, there's a blockage in your chakra, because a lot of the time people freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, there's a blockage. Like, how do I clear it? You know, it's just the energy is congested. So if you have an energy point in your body where your energy is focused or congested for whatever reason, it could have been because of trauma, or it could just be something that took place, you know, and you're just focused on that particular event, your energy is going to be focused on that chakra, and then you're not going to be balancing your other ones because they all work together. Okay, so this is really how the chakras work. And the crown chakra is depicted by the color violets. Okay, so the color violets is the connection to other planes, other dimensions, other beings. But that's the thing, it's at the top. So you have to basically work from the bottom up, okay? So you have to have a solid ground, a solid foundation, clear out any sort of like lessons around money, finances, abundance, anything to do in the physical plane to come into the crown, okay? So sometimes, you know, people might have an overactive crown if they're thinking too much, or if they're, again, detached from the physical reality. So they all work together, okay? They all work together. This is just a very brief overview. There is so much to say about these chakras. Like I mentioned, I have a full-blown course where I go in detail about, you know, how to heal them and what are the shadow aspects and what happens if you're more in this one and that one. So if you guys are interested, again, it's going to be in the description box below. So let's get into the signs. So I'm not going to be going in any order in particular. Again, fully channeled. You know, this video is fully channeled. I'm letting the camera roll. So whatever comes through, comes through. So the first chakra or first sign we're going to be talking about is Scorpio. So Scorpio as a sign, when we look at it, the chakra that Scorpio is going to be focusing on or working on predominantly is going to be the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra, once again, is creativity, sexuality, sensuality, the manifestor's energy. So basically the reason why Scorpio is working on the sacral chakra is because of the fact that they tend to go through a lot of events or experiences in their life, okay, that lead them into analyzing emotions, okay, or bringing them back into their shell. And basically it wounds the sacral chakra, or it might overflow. They might struggle with boundaries. Okay, so a lot of the time, you know, if you have an overactive sacral, you might struggle with boundaries. You might be overgiving. You might have not even dealt with your emotions, because this is kind of how Scorpio goes. They can either be overly available, or they can fully cut everybody off and go again into their shell, because they're picking up on a lot of psychic information. Scorpio as a sign is very psychic, because again, they are a water sign and they're dealing with the water energy. It is a lot to do with emotions. So they could pick up on other people's emotions. They could be very clairsentient. And again, this could have an effect on them, especially if they're not aware that this is happening to them. Okay, so if they're not aware of the fact that they are picking up on other people's emotions, or, you know, that they're internalizing other people's experiences as their own, again, that affects their sacral chakra. What tends to happen is if your sacral chakra is affected, you might feel stagnant, okay? You might not feel creative. You might feel unmotivated. And this is what happens with that scorpionic energy. And basically what they're meant to do is they're meant to learn to transmute. So this is the biggest thing with Scorpio, is they're basically meant to learn to transmute lower vibrational emotions into higher vibrational ones. They're meant to learn to become the alchemist. It's the magician archetype, okay? So there's so much to say. I could literally do a full-blown video on every sign of their own. If any of you are interested in a particular sign, you guys can let me know. But it is that magician archetype, because they're basically meant to learn to become the phoenix rising, okay? Scorpio is a very interesting sign. So again, it depends where you have this in your chart. It depends again how much of the energy you have in your chart, but this is really scorpionic. A lot of the time Scorpio does have something that takes place for them, okay? So trigger warning, there could have been either sexual abuse in this particular lifetime or in a past life for them, okay, and they carry that energy over, or it could have even been covert, okay? So covert sexual abuse could be things like, you know, people commenting on your body or whatever, you know, even your family members, whatever way, shape, or form it comes through, okay? But it's hidden. It's not something that you can be like, that took place, but it made you feel uncomfortable, okay? So there could be an energy of that. And again, that affects the sacral chakra, because ultimately at the end of the day, Scorpio as a sign, what they're really meant to do is transmute energy, transmute any sort of lower vibrational experiences that took place for them, and you know, put them into a higher vibrational state, okay, become that phoenix rising, come out of that lower vibrational energy of, again, feeling stuck and stagnant and, you know, even vengeful, all these sorts of things. That's kind of like the energy around Scorpio as a sign. So this is really what they're meant to do. So Scorpio as a sign predominantly is going to be working on the sacral chakra. Next, let's look at Cancer. So Cancer as a sign. So Cancer as a sign is going to be working on 2 chakras, okay? So Cancer as a sign predominantly is working on the heart chakra. I would say mainly they're working through the heart space, but they're also working through the sacral a little bit as well. So Cancer as a sign, they're pretty much working a lot on the heart space, which is also to do with unconditional love. It's also to do with the mother wound. So this is a huge thing for Cancer as a sign. They are the most abandoned sign, and they are very feminine and motherly in that sense. Again, it doesn't matter, you know, when we look at like the mother archetype, you would look at who took on that role in your life. Sometimes the roles are reversed. Sometimes the mother is the breadwinner, so then she would be the father role, okay? And then the father, if the father was more in the motherly role, that's who you would look towards when we're working on healing, right? So, or if there's a lack of, let's say there's no parent, or you were an orphan, a lot of the time Cancerian energy is very much like an orphan energy. You could have had a lot of past lives where you were an orphan, or you just felt abandoned in one way, shape, or form. Maybe your parents worked all the time, maybe one was there, maybe both of them were absent or busy. However that manifested, Cancer as a sign is the most abandoned sign. So they spend a lot of their life looking to create a family feel for them, you know, and this is really because of the fact, again, they didn't have that family feel growing up. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to create a family of their own, although it could. Okay, Cancer as a sign really does have that deep yearning to create a family of their own, because this is how they gain stability. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be in a job, okay? So it can be in a job, they create a family feel with their colleagues, or it can be through their friends. They're always creating some form of family feel. They might be in situations way longer than they should be. I talked a lot about this in the 4th house Cancer video, so you guys can definitely check that one out. They could be in situations way longer than they should be, and they tend to get nostalgic, okay? Because again, for them, it's all about feeling. A lot of the time, Cancer as a sign does tend to, again, be labeled as moody, but this is because of the fact that they're picking up on energy around them. So Cancer is very psychic. All the water signs are psychic in different ways, but Cancer is very psychic, again, in the sense of, you know, really picking up on other people's emotions, energy, all these sorts of things. So this is why they're also working through the sacral chakra, because what happens with the sacral chakra is if you've taken on a lot of energy or emotions are energy in motion, okay? So emotion is energy in motion. That's how it becomes an emotion. But if you do have a lot of this energy in your chart, a lot of this Cancerian energy in your chart, you could have been someone, again, who picked up on a lot of energy around you, and you've internalized it as your own. And it kind of puts this like almost like flat energy is really what I get when I tap into it. So this is really what that is. So Cancer is also working through the sacral chakra. They want to come out of that overly watery energy and come more into the solar plexus is really what we would say. So they want to come more into their confidence, into their person, into their being. But a lot of the time they're working through that heart space, okay, that heart chakra. Next, let's look at Pisces. Pisces as a sign, very interesting sign, the 12th house of the zodiac. There's so much going on with Pisces as a sign. They are a water sign. I would say for them, the chakra that they're working through is going to be the crown, and is going to be also the sacral. Okay, so a lot of these water signs are working through the sacral chakra, but predominantly the crown. For Pisces, the main thing that they're working through in this lifetime is going to be the crown chakra, learning how to be grounded, learning how to be in this physical reality, learning how to channel through those ideas, okay, that they get, because Pisces is highly psychic. They get a lot of information, and they're probably not even aware of it. A lot of the time, you know, we think that everybody's just like us, okay? So we do think that people are just the way that we are, and because of that, a lot of gifts that we might have naturally, we don't even realize that we have them. Okay, so we don't even realize that we have them, and this is because of the fact, again, because we think everybody's like us. So it comes so naturally to Pisces to be highly psychic, highly intuitive, picking up on psychic information all the time. For them, it could come through as visions, it could come through in dream time. Okay, this is really Piscean energy. It's also to do with the crown, even third eye. Okay, so these are kind of like the two that they're going to be working through, and again, also the sacral as well. Okay, so the sacral in the sense of working through emotions, because a lot of these water signs, what tends to happen with them is that they might fall into addictions, because again, their emotions aren't being resolved in one way, shape, or form. So they look towards escapism, especially Pisces. Okay, so Pisces is a sign of escape. They don't like it on the earth plane at all. Okay, it's boring for them. This is really what it is. It's boring for them. It's much more colorful in their minds, okay, in this other world, in this other reality. It's much more interesting. And if they don't acquire that on their own, okay, through their own, you know, psychic evolution, well, then they might turn towards drugs. Okay, so this is a huge thing with Piscean energy, is they might turn towards drugs, again, to have that out-of-body experience. because already naturally Pisces is a little bit out of their body. Okay, so these signs who are more in the crown, they're going to be a little bit out of their body at all times, because that's just how they operate. That's literally just how they operate on the earth plane. Okay, so different signs have different gifts that they are encompassed with, and for Pisces in particular, they are highly psychic. Okay, highly open crown. And it's interesting because if you have a lot of 12th house or Piscean energy, there could have been past lives where you were institutionalized, okay? Or because it has to deal with, again, small spaces. So you could have either gone to jail or been institutionalized. I talked a lot about this in the 12th house video, but it's interesting because psychic energy, you have the light version of it and then you have the shadow version of it, but that's a different video for a different day. So this is Pisces. Pisces is going to really be working through the crown chakra and learning to ground that and become more grounded in this physical reality, okay? Next, let's look at Libra. What is Libra working through as a sign? Libra as a sign, I would say that they're pretty much also working through the crown. They're going to be working through even the root chakra to be grounded in this physical reality. Sacral in the sense that they're going to have to find a way to express themselves creatively. Also solar plexus. So there's a lot of chakras that Libra is really working through. Solar plexus is another one. They really have to learn to create a sense of self for them. Okay, they have to learn to come out of that sacral energy, which is overactive, maybe for them in the sense of wanting to be with another person. It could come through as codependent in a way, okay, merging with another person. It's interesting because they are an air sign. It does have to do a lot with intellect, okay? So that's a little bit that crown chakra energy where they're overthinking. That does need to be cleared, okay? But predominantly, I would say Libra has to learn to develop a strong sense of self. So I would say Libra is really working through solar plexus in this particular lifetime and coming out of, again, sacral in the sense that, that codependent energy, having to be with another person, and dynamics with them, and also sacral in the sense of learning to express themselves creatively, because Libra is really here to express themselves creatively in the sense that, it could come through differently. They could come through as, makeup artists, or it could be anything to do with clothes, interior design, but Libra is also all to do with law, okay? So they're able to, pick two sides of each story. So this is why it's important for them to develop a strong sense of self, because of the fact that they can always pick on two different sides of every story. They might become very flaky, okay, in that sense, okay? They might kind of lean, okay, today I'm like this, tomorrow I'm like that. So they're really working on solar plexus and even throat a little bit, actually, because, Libra talks, okay? They love to talk. They're all about communication, okay? Not so much like Gemini, but Libra is really a lot to do with communication. So there's a little bit of everything that Libra is working through. Predominantly for them, I would say that Libra pretty much is mainly focusing on developing a strong sense of self and learning to express their creativity, okay? So again, coming out of a shadow aspect of the sacral, more so into a strong sense of self, which is solar plexus, and then expression, which is throat chakra. So this is Libra. Next, we're going to be looking at Gemini. So what is Gemini working on? Very similar to Libra in that sense. They're working on their throat chakra, okay? And they're also going to be working on their solar plexus, developing a strong sense of self. I find that Gemini's as an energy, again, they might fall into this people-pleasing energy, very similar to Libra, okay, wanting to be liked by everybody. But a huge thing for Gemini is to, again, not allow themselves to be distracted, so become even more grounded. So they could be working even on root chakra in this lifetime, becoming more grounded in their person, to not be so scattered, okay, and to be able to channel their energy in what it is that they want to do. And a lot of the time it has to do with communication. So this is a huge thing for Gemini. Gemini really needs to learn to open up that throat chakra, but with confidence, which is solar plexus, okay? So this is a huge thing that Gemini is working on. So basically Gemini will be working on solar plexus to become strong in their person, strong in who they are as an individual, have faith in themselves, okay, and not look towards other people for approval, all these sorts of things. So that's really what Gemini is working on. And then once they do have that solid foundation for themselves, really honing in that energy so they're not scattered, okay, because again, that's overactive crown. If you're too much in your head, if you're too much in overthinking, all these sorts of things, okay? And then speaking, okay, so speaking in one way, shape, or form. This is a huge thing for Gemini, being able to speak, being able to communicate, their ideas, and all these sorts of things. I would say that would be a healthy expression of Gemini. Next, we're going to look at Aquarius. Okay, so Aquarius as a sign, I find them to be very, well, they're already known to be very outwardly, okay? So they're out of this world. They tend to be very ahead of their time, but they're also highly psychic, okay? So it's interesting to look at them as an air sign, but they're also highly psychic. So really what Aquarius is working on as an air sign is the crown. also, but the expression of the crown. So I would say Aquarius is going to be working a lot on the throat, learning to express, okay, learning to express information that comes through. But again, to do that, you have to be stable in your person. So you have to have a strong solar plexus. So it's interesting that it's coming through that all the air signs are really working on developing a strong sense of self so they can express in one way, shape, or form. But for Aquarius, predominantly is again stabilizing the crown chakra so they can have information come through. Okay, this is a huge thing for Aquarius because they're highly psychic, but they have to find a way of expressing this. And you know, again, also for Aquarius as a sign, because of the fact that they might be different or quirky or more ahead of their time or whatever way you want to look at it, because of this, they might hold back from expressing. So again, developing a strong solar plexus, a strong sense of self, a strong identity, okay, a strong belief in yourself, a strong belief in who you are to express basically information that comes through. Okay, so it's interesting. All of the air signs are learning to express in a different way, but it's interesting to look at what exactly it is that they're expressing. So for Libra, it was creativity. For Gemini, it's just ideas in general. And for Aquarius, it is those futuristic things that do come through. Okay, so it's going to be a lot to do with that crown chakra activity, not being stuck in their heads. Okay, so this is a huge thing for Aquarius. It is important to not get stuck in their heads and to express it. So if they don't actually get to express it verbally, maybe writing it down, all these sorts of things. So that would be Aquarius. Next, let's look at Leo. So Leo as a sign, I would say, is pretty much mainly focused on the solar plexus. Leo has to learn to work through that solar plexus so they can express themselves creatively. Okay, so they have to learn to really release ego and pride. Okay, because these are the things with the Leo, because it's depicted by the sun, and the solar plexus is the sun. Okay, so Leo is pretty much learning how to put aside their ego, put aside their pride to go after what it is that they want in life. Okay, because if they don't, that ego could really cost them. Okay, so this is a huge thing, because ego with Leo and ego, it's not so much that they have a fragile ego, it's just that it's a lion. Okay, they're very proud, and like if something doesn't work out the way that they wanted it to in the beginning, well, then they might have a little bit more pride to go after it a second time. And an example I used even in my 5th house Leo video was, let's say they auditioned for a show and they wanted to be the main character, and then that got filled by someone, and then, you know, the show offers them like a secondary character. Well, Leo's gonna be like, do you not know who I am, you know? And because of this, they might not even take the opportunity to be the secondary character, which could actually then open them up to being eventually the main character, right? That could cost them, okay? That could really cost them. And then they're going to say, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be in that. And then, you know, they might not ever, well, I'm not saying they might not ever get an opportunity again, but, you know, it could have led them down a different path that was less resistant, okay? So there's an energy of resistance they're working through as a sign internally, okay, within the self, which is, you know, knowing that they have a lot to offer and expecting to be recognized for it. Okay, so that's all solar plexus, and also learning to express themselves creatively. So Leo as a sign really is here to learn to express. Okay, so again, throat chakra for Leo, which is similar to the air signs as well. They're also learning to express, but it's different for them because they're learning to express themselves creatively in terms of who they are as a person. So predominantly for Leo, I would say the main focus is going to be solar plexus. Okay, really working with that ego, working with that pride, setting it aside so you can express yourself creatively and allow yourself to express. Okay, so this is a huge thing for Leo. And you know, the stubbornness of the ego sometimes, you know, especially in terms of like the Leo energy, is that, you know, they're going to be like, I don't want to talk about that, you know, or they're going to be like, I don't even want to bother with that person. Like they'd rather suffer, right? Instead of actually express if that ego got wounded in a way where they didn't get the recognition that they felt that they deserved. So this is Leo. Next, we're going to be looking at Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, very interesting sign, because already as a sign, they are the first mythological creature in the zodiac. Okay, I think they might actually be the only mythological creature in the zodiac. They are a centaur, so a lot of the time they're half in the clouds, half on the earth plane. So this is kind of how they operate. They're a little bit out of their body. They tend to be very scattered in their energy, so definitely working on the root to ground, okay, their energy, because Sagittarius, when they do pick something that they want to do, and you know, they focus their energy in on this thing and they hone in that energy, they're going to be really good at it. Okay, they're going to be really good at it, but a lot of the time it doesn't hold their interest long enough. Okay, so again, very much crown. So you know, crown and root work together. If you're too much in your crown, you're going to be an overthinker and you're not going to be grounded, okay, in your root chakra. So this is really what Sagittarius is learning to work through. They're learning to come, not so much come back down to earth, but come out of being scattered, okay, being all over the place, and focus and hone in their energy on one thing, okay? So they're really learning to be grounded, to ground that energy, because Sagittarius is a sign, when they do pick that one thing, they tend to be really good at it. And a lot of them can even be athletes. I've seen a lot of athletes with Sagittarian energy in their chart. It's a wonderful energy. It's very much, it's fire. It's very much go, 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 right? They're going after whatever it is that they want to get, but they have to focus that energy in. So coming out of the crown, coming out of being scattered, okay, energetically, to be more grounded. So Sagittarius is an energy, pretty much, I would say, is working on the root chakra to learn to be more grounded. This is, yeah, I would give them pretty much the root and crown that they're working on. Next, we're going to be looking at Aries. Okay, so what is Aries working on? Really interesting, because they are a fire sign. Also, I would say Aries is working on not being as impulsive, okay? So taking some time to not react out of emotions. So in a way, this is going to be sacral and solar plexus, okay? Sacral and solar plexus, they're going to be looking at working towards being confident in their person and not being reactive, okay? Because they are ruled by Mars, they do tend to be explosive. They also tend to be impulsive in a lot of situations, which is good. This can be really good for them, okay? Because compared to the other signs might be sitting and being like, well, I need to get ready for this, or mentally prepared, or whatever it is. Aries is just going to go for it, right? And this is such a beautiful energy, but sometimes they can be impulsive in the sense that maybe they're going to say something that they don't mean. Maybe they're going to react in a situation, react when they're triggered. So they're really learning how to balance the solar plexus, I would say, and come out of the sacral, okay? But, you know, it's not like the water signs. The water signs are in the sacral in a different way. For Aries, it's more so just learning to manage their emotions and learning to not allow themselves to just be explosive and impulsive. It's a huge thing, because I find with Aries energies, they're going to be explosive and then they're going to regret it soon after. They're going to feel bad and they're going to be like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Whatever way, shape, or form. That type of energy with Aries. But like I said, there's the good aspect of that where they go after things that they want to do. So this is a huge thing with Aries, I would say, is they're just learning how to not be impulsive, which is a lot to do with the solar plexus and sacral. Okay, so they're coming out of being overly emotional in that sense, okay, because they're fiery, right? So again, they might be explosive, they might say things before they mean them. They might just even get themselves into situations that they didn't even want to be in for whatever reason. Also, they can be very competitive, okay, but sometimes it can be to their detriment. So again, really making sure that, you know, what you're doing is something you actually want to do, that you're not just doing it to compete with another person. So again, very much solar plexus energy, I would say, that Aries is working on. They're working on really creating that mature ego, okay, is really a huge thing for them. So they're not impulsive, and so they really know what it is that they want to do and that they're doing it for themselves. So this is Aries. Next, let's look at Capricorn. What is Capricorn working on in terms of their chakras? Well, Capricorn does tend to be known as a workaholic, so they're very much already in the root. For Capricorn, I would pretty much say that something that, you know, they should be working on would be a little bit more leeway, okay, energetically. So not being so strict, not being so focused on just work, okay, being maybe more open, because Capricorn, again, as an energy, might not be interested in anything to do with even like metaphysics and all these sorts of things. So Capricorn as a sign, I would say, pretty much is working on even maybe sacral, maybe even third eye, okay, opening up their third eye to be more open to the psychic world, okay, learning to be more in tune with their own emotions, maybe not running away through work from their emotions, all these sorts of things. This is really Capricornian energy. They're really good at manifesting. They're really good at putting in a goal and actually working through that goal. But again, they might shut themselves off to the physical, metaphysical world. They might even shut themselves off to any sort of psychic, even insights that they have, okay? And psychic information is really good to have, because psychic information is a survival thing, okay, for us. So maybe working on their third eye, or learning to trust it more, not being cynical, all these sorts of things could be something that Capricorn works on as a sign. So I would say for Capricorn, what they're working on, I would probably give them third eye, a little bit of sacral energy in there to be more open emotionally, even heart chakra also. I would also give them heart chakra, just so they're not so like strict and rigid and like routine and all these sorts of things, and like going after what it is that they want. And and crown also, so they can, you know, open themselves up more to the metaphysical side of things. So that's what I would give for Capricorn. Next, we're going to be talking about Virgo. So what would Virgo do? Well, Virgo as a sign it tends to be known as a perfectionist. Virgo tends to focus more on creating and perfecting something before actually putting it out there. They might be nitpicky in a sense. They might be nitpicky even in their relationships, or expect their partner to be perfect. So I would give Virgo the heart chakra. I would give Virgo the heart chakra to work through or work on as a sign. This is pretty much, again, to have very similar to Capricorn in the sense of giving yourself the leeway, okay? Giving yourself the leeway to make mistakes, okay? Be compassionate, not only for others, but for yourself is a huge thing for Virgo. Definitely, I would give them the heart chakra to be working on as a chakra, to be opening themselves up more, to be, again, not so strict, okay? But the thing is, like, they're not only strict on other people, they can be very critical of themselves as well. And again, this could be to a detriment. Okay, so I would give Virgo this. And also, they tend to be very rigid in their routine, so switching up the energy in that sense. I would also give them sacral chakra. I feel like I've mentioned sacral chakra for all of the signs, but it's in different ways. So for Virgo, you know, because you're constantly in a routine and doing the same thing all the time, you might get stagnant, and the best way to switch up stagnant energy is to do something new, or to incorporate something, or to even do the smallest thing, like just do one thing different in your day. So maybe take a different way home, you know, and that's really going to switch up the energy for you. They're going to bring that excitement back, because sacral is all to do with excitement energy as well. So yes, I would give them the heart chakra and the sacral chakra to work on. Next chakra, next sign rather, is the Taurus. I think this is the last sign. I'm pretty sure we went through all the signs. So Taurus, what we're going to be working on as a sign, Taurus is very much about the physical plane. They're very much about material things. They're very much about the five senses, living through the five senses, the sensuality, all these sorts of things. It's important for them not to overindulge, which is also sacral. This is so funny. I feel like I've mentioned sacral, but it's in different ways. Okay, so if you watch the whole video, you'll see that it's sacral in different ways. But yeah, for Taurus, I would give them sacral in the sense of not overindulging. So a shadow aspect of Taurus is that they might overindulge in certain aspects. You know, they might overindulge in food, they might overindulge in any sort of experiences, and this is sacral chakra. So for them, it's really important to not overindulge, maybe even bring through a little bit of creativity in their life, okay? Because again, they're very much about the earth plane, very much about acquiring things, okay? And they could be just focused on that. So bringing through creativity, even through their third eye, okay? This could be a thing that Taurus is working on. Again, it depends on your chart. I mean, you know, you could have a lot of, let's say, like Piscean or even Scorpionic energy in your chart compared to Taurus, and then you could be already highly intuitive, all these sorts of things. But this is really what I would give Taurus. Taurus is the opposition of Scorpio, so they might be intuitive in their own way, but they might shut that off. So I would give them definitely third eye, and I would also give them sacral to work on, so they don't overindulge, and so they can open themselves up a little bit more to their own intuition, to the metaphysical aspect of things, and trusting themselves. Okay, trusting themselves, because, you know, intuition is a beautiful thing, because it's through psychic insight that we do get these downloads. Okay, we do get these downloads through psychic information to do creative things. Okay, and to create things, it does come through psychically, and then you act on it through the solar plexus. Okay, so I would give this to Taurus. I would give this to Taurus to kind of shake them out of their comfort zone, out of that routine, out of like the physical reality and all these things. I would definitely give them the sacral chakra to focus on, which is again also with creativity, and the third eye, also to do with creativity, but in like a psychic sense, open themselves up more to the intuitive life aspect of things and aspects of life. So my dear friends, I'm gonna wrap up this video there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. I had such a good time. I was so excited to make this video. If you did like it, please do like, share, and subscribe. If you guys, you know, have any comments, or, you know, if you guys think that any of the signs should be working on any other chakras, feel free to comment below. You know, we can open up a discussion, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.